Those vegan guys. Thank you.
Hello there, I'm Paul.
I'm Jason.
And together we are
Those Vegan Guys.
I've decided to say that really dramatically. Those vegan guys.
Dramatically?
Hey, here's the funny bit about this now. Right, normally it's me in the kitchen.
It is.
In here cooking and doing stuff.
It is.
But Jay came up with a gorgeous idea to pay tribute to someone very special to us both.
Yes.
Using our apples from the allotment.
Well, that's what's instigated it, to be honest, because for those of you that watch our allotment vlogs, and if you don't and you're interested, link it up there, our playlist. We're at vlog 41 now. This is what instigated it, apples from the allotment plot. And one of the key things that has stuck with me since being a kid was whenever me and my sister went up to Grandma and Grandad's house, bless them both, they're no longer with us, but they are here in spirit. Whenever we went up to Grandma and Grandad's house, Grandad was a very keen baker, and there was always at his house either an apple turnover of some kind, some other type of turnover, or what he used to call fatter cake, which was basically like pastry with like raisins and sultanas and stuff kind of embedded into it.
Sure, many of you Northern Englanders will have had that.
Yeah.
We used to have it at our house with Marjo.
Yeah.
Fatter cake.
So today is basically just me in the kitchen showing yous how I make apple turnover. And I suppose the thing to bear in mind is if Grandad was around today, I'm sure he would have no objections at all to popping to the supermarket and getting a pre-bought puff pastry, although he did always make his own pastry. I'm going to just elevate it because I have the opportunity, and we are in 2021 and I can go to the supermarket and buy puff pastry like that.
That's not necessarily elevating it, it's doing as good a job, because Grandad's handmade pastry.
It was great. Yeah, so maybe elevate wasn't quite the right word, but my interpretation, inspired by Grandad's apple turnover.
And I am going to go and carry on playing the game in front room and leave him to it.
And if I need his help, I'll shout him.
Please don't. Bye, loves.
Okay, so full disclaimer, this is not a how-to guide. Please do not follow this as a recipe. Then again, give it a try, you never know. Grandad maybe, possibly, wherever he is, out there in the cosmos, could possibly be a bit disappointed with the outcome, but hopefully not. The apples here, easiest bit to do. Let's crack on. So yeah, that's probably a little bit more vegan butter than was required, but it's personal taste, I suppose. So the key thing at this stage that I was aware of, I had looked at a couple of recipes online just to get a few pointers. Paul also provided 1 or 2 pointers. The key element, of course, is when your apples go in, make sure you don't burn them, and that was something I was very, very conscious of. brown sugar, of course, an essential component, and this is me, Jason. I don't cook, normally, so I'd like to be able to give you an exact measurement, but it's just a liberal sprinkling onto the apples of the brown sugar, followed by cinnamon, of course, and again, a liberal sprinkling of the cinnamon over the apples, and then of course all you need to do then is watch it and give it a good mix round. So I thought I'd be right clever here. I thought I'll separate some of the apples off so they don't get cooked as much, and then put it all back together at the end so we've got a little bit more texture with some of the apples. And of course throughout this process I've been keeping quite a close eye on the heat and quite a close eye on the apples, and just kind of keeping them moving, mixing them around, getting it all sorted. I also read in a couple of the recipes online that a little crack of salt in there lifts things a little, so I thought, hey, I'll give it a try. Having poured the apples into the bowl and given them a good mix, I came up with a rather nifty little way to get them all chopped up. Very simple. I was quite pleased with myself, you know, for a beginner. Stating the obvious here now for many, but do put your mix in the fridge until it's cooled, because you don't want to be putting a hot mix in the pastry. This is the Just Roll, clearly marked vegan on the back of the box, the Just Roll puff pastry, and this is really where it all starts to go a little bit downhill. Some of you, the observant ones, may be thinking right now, Jason, you're working with pastry on a piece of wood on top of where fire has just been. Fire. This rapidly became a problem, as you will see. Rolling the pastry out, I was a little bit concerned that I would roll out some of the puff, but I wasn't too concerned because I have done it once before and it was okay. Now, the method in the madness here is I needed a square piece to then create 4 squares for the turnovers, to make the turnovers, and my idea was this little bit on the side. I was going to kind of put the extra apple in it and kind of roll it up, but at this point now the heat is coming through and I'm starting to be able to tell, although I haven't clocked it yet, that the pastry is becoming really difficult to work with. So, obvious statement, but when you're working with pastry, and I should have known this really, try and keep the pastry cool, and also flour your surface, because that was a schoolboy error right there. Anyway, onwards. it was somewhere around about this point I started to have a mini meltdown. The sudden realisation that I had made a schoolboy error and this pastry was becoming increasingly difficult to work with. Paul did come in the kitchen briefly and I had a mini meltdown in front of him and kind of just said, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to pull this off because the pastry was just sticking, it was unworkable. But you know what, I thought, I'm going to muddle through the best I can, because even if they don't look that nice, at the end I'd already tasted the apple filling and I knew that they would taste lovely. So yeah, I just cracked on, did the best I could, managed to get the pastry onto the parchment paper, which did make it a lot easier to work with. So that did make a big difference, and that probably helped me get it across the finish line. Lesson learnt. This last one, as you can see, was an absolute mess, hence my imminent frustrations. But you know what? Still stick it in the cooker, get it cooked. It's all good. Have a go. The oven is preheating at 180 degrees C, which is 356 degrees Fahrenheit. I didn't glaze the pastry. With this particular puff pastry, we find it's not really necessary to glaze it to get it to brown up, as you will see when they come out the other side. But yeah, absolutely lovely. And I was just basically putting the tray in the middle of the oven there, rather than the top and the bottom, and then just keeping a keen eye on the cooking process. About 20 minutes all told, till they start to brown on the top, and all is good with the world. Not gonna lie, I was pleasantly surprised with the turnout, pleasantly surprised with myself after all that palaver. And there's only one additional thing now left to do, just to kind of jazz it up, take it to the next sweetness level. So all I'm doing here is basically using some icing sugar, some vanilla and a little bit of water mixed in a bowl to create a sweet sort of glaze that goes over the top. All will be revealed in just a second. Now, with hindsight, I would have probably used a little bit more icing sugar and got it a little bit thicker, but it turned out just fine. But that's something that you want to consider. Because I'm not giving you exact measurements here, because I'm an absolute rank amateur, I would just say try and just use your ingredients, your water ratio, ice and sugar ratio, to get it to the consistency that you would like. That's the most important thing. Doing this, of course, over the sink wherever possible is definitely going to help reduce the mess. And then just an additional element over the top. That was really more just for visual appeal, really. It didn't need to be made. They don't need to be made any sweeter, but it was more of a visual thing, as you can see. And the finished result that I was very, very happy with. We've both tried them and they are absolutely gorgeous, not lying, not a word of a lie. And of course, totally adaptable, put any filling you want in there. So have a go and let us know what you think.